Welcome to another episode of Joan Deserves a Musical, where I talk about my efforts to turn the life of Joan of Arc into a family-friendly animated musical. And this is the moment we've all been waiting for. I feel like I should just be able to tell you in a few words whether my meeting in Montreal was successful or not. But if there's one thing I've learned over the course of this project, the couple of years I've been working on it's that I always go into situations expecting a binary outcome. Either, wild success or crushing defeat, and no third options. And because of that, and yet it turns out that neither of those ever come about. It's always a third option that I wasn't able to imagine. And because of that, going into this meeting, I was like, I wonder what the third option is. I wonder what will come out of this. What's the thing I'm not imagining? Because I don't really expect I'm going to talk to this executive producer and he's like, here's money. I'm going to make this. I've dropped what I'm doing and make this movie right now. But he's also been so encouraging and helpful over the last year or so. I didn't expect him to be like, get lost, kid. You're never going to make it in Hollywood or whatever. And I didn't know what the third option was. And now, right now, I'm recording this on September 4th. The meeting was September 3rd. It's been almost 24 hours. Had a night to sleep on it. Had a day to think about it. And it's still, I don't know how to summarize what happened. It was good, I think. It was very positive. This executive producer I'm talking with, for whatever reason, seems to be very interested in mentoring me as an individual. I can't actually really tell how interested he is in the project itself. I mean, he is. He thinks it's a good idea. But he told me over and over again that, he's been in the industry for 30 plus years and projects like this more often fail than succeed. And yet he asked me for the script and the songs, and he's going to read it and listen to it and give me feedback. He asked me if I have a pitch deck. I told him I do. He told me he wants to coach me through the process of turning it into a 15-minute pitch that actually has a shot of succeeding. He was very generous with offering to kind of be my guide through the road ahead, which is amazing and probably the thing I actually need. But the last couple episodes have been like, we're almost to the end of the road, right? And I think what I just learned is I have found the entrance ramp onto the freeway. And now we get to find out whether I have learned how to drive or not. So lots of work still ahead, and lots of exciting times. But I don't know. I don't want to say this is the end of Joan Deserves a Musical. But I don't know that I can commit to doing this on a weekly basis anymore, because I don't know if there will be weekly updates. For example, right now, mostly I am just waiting for him to read the script and get back to me. I have no idea how long that'll take. Maybe he'll do it today. Maybe he'll do it this weekend. Maybe it'll take him a month. Maybe it'll take longer than that. Because he's just doing this out of the kindness of his heart, I don't feel like I can really, push and demand any sort of thing. But I am sort of at his mercy. So that's an interesting piece. I learned a lot from him, and mostly I learned I really don't understand how the movie industry works, like at all. He would tell me something and I would say it back to him, I think word for word almost, and he'd be like, no, that's not at all. And he'd tell me something that to me sounded like the exact opposite. So we were in Montreal. He is not French Canadian. We both speak English as our first language, but it really felt like there was a language barrier there of some kind. The industry is just so foreign to me. But he was encouraging in a very he was very careful not to overpromise. He told me over and over again that he's seen a lot of really great projects get sunk by really stupid questions from people who the projects are being pitched to, and he's just trying to help me think through what those questions might be and how to have good responses to them. So at the end of the day, he said he is the guy who can make the movie, but not the guy who can fund the movie. So where we go from here is we try to get some funding. And it's interesting. He gave me more concrete numbers. Obviously, none of this is like a quote for business. The actual amount it would take to turn this concept into a movie would certainly have a lot of variables. But I've been going off of like he was the one who told me a year ago that when Disney budgets out a movie, they start at $1 million per minute of finished footage, and the budget grows from there. So Disney movie is easily $100 million. He told me his team can make a full length animated movie for 15 million. That's what he said to me yesterday, and so that's still an impossibly large amount of money for me, but it's not it's not like the GDP of a small nation, right? So, but it's interesting. He said if they took on the script, like if they were to option it, which is the thing I've been hoping for, which sounds like maybe we're not going to do. He said they would spend about $300,000 over the course of 18 months to get that script production ready. So that would be revisions to the script, that would be character designs. I don't know if it would include also like storyboarding, but it would get the project so it's not just a written script. There would be visuals, there would be something much more concrete and I don't know, visual to pitch to a distribution company. And then that if they could get a distribution company to come on board, that's where the $15 million budget would come from, and then it would be a couple of years of production to get the thing actually made. So I think as he's coaching me toward having a good pitch deck, I'm shooting for someone who can pay the $300,000, not the $15 million, but maybe I'm trying to do the 15 million out the gate. I honestly don't know. There's so many steps from here to there. He told me the absolute soonest we could hope for this movie to be made is 5 years, and it would likely be longer than that. Something I did not tell him is I think 5 years. It sounds pretty good. That would be 2029, which is the 600th anniversary of Joan of Arc and the Battle of Orleans and all the things that are included in this movie. So, all that just to say, if there are at least 5 and potentially 10 years of journey still ahead of me on this project, the likelihood that I'll be able to keep up a weekly vlog is pretty slim, especially since there will be times when things are outside of my control. But I am very excited for some of the next steps. I'm very interested to see what he thinks of the full script. Our relationship started when I sent him a single scene that I still feel is the best scene of the whole movie, but I'm really interested to see if he feels like the rest of the script is up to that quality, because the reason he was willing to talk to me is because he thought that scene was so good. And so have I delivered on that? Am I consistent? I will find out hopefully soon. And then also developing this pitch deck, I think, is going to be really, really fun. He told me that a pitch deck for an animated project needs to be, or maybe any film project, I don't know, needs to be roughly 50% images. He said he once had a pitch deck where he had an image on like slide 7 or whatever. And at the end of his 15-minute pitch, the person he was pitching to said, "Hey, did you guys at your studio make that image on this slide?" And they went back and looked at it. He's like, "Yeah, we created that." And he's like, "Wow, really love that image." And he said the project didn't get funded, but 6 months later he was at a conference and ran into that guy. And the guy was like, "Oh, I remember you. You had that image of I forget what he said it was, like a pumpkin monster or something in your pitch deck. I keep thinking about that. It's really stuck with me." So the power of strong visuals is very important. It'll be more important than anything I say or write. But it's interesting to me because, for one thing, I can't create any visuals myself. And if I go out and commission someone to create visuals of Joan, for example, I would want the studio that creates this thing to have the freedom to design her in the way they think will work best. And so I wouldn't want us to be beholden to these images. But if these images are the things that get the thing sold, I don't know. It's just complicated. There's a lot of things ahead. All in all, feel it was a very positive meeting. I'm coming away very excited, but I'm kind of shifting into a new gear, feeling like the 2 years that are behind me is nothing compared to the long road ahead, and trying to resolve myself to I don't know, to change the way I'm breathing and walking up this mountain so that I don't exhaust myself before I get there. It's going to be a very long trip.